Is it power? And if it is, what kind of power? What does it mean to have this power? If you read through the accounts of Elijah and Elisha's lives, you'll find that God works significantly more miracles through Elisha, maybe even double. But the caveat is that Elisha must witness Elijah's exit from the world. The text says, as they continued walking and talking, a chariot of fire and horses of fire, can you imagine witnessing this? Separated the two of them, and Elijah ascended in a whirlwind into heaven. Elisha kept watching and crying out, Father, Father, the chariots of Israel and his horsemen. Duh. But wow. Then he tore up all his clothes, except for the mantle, which is used to part the Jordan and walk back home. What a scene. As far as we know, Elijah doesn't actually die at that time, but is taken up into heaven, whatever that means. It's a mystery. Yet for Elisha, it must have been like a death to him. He was gone. He was left alone, and he left everything to follow Elijah, with only a cloak that can make water move out of the way so one can pass through dry land. But when we're looking at death or a parting or the ending of a relationship, do we not want to look away, ignore it, move on? Isn't that one of the first things we comment on when someone is still grieving over something? When are you going to move on? Though more often we don't want to deal with it, so we say, yeah, I've moved on already. No big deal. Yet amid this very strange and extraordinarily dramatic event, Elisha keeps watching, doesn't flinch, but embraces the fear and likely terror of it, believing that his mentor would not instruct him to keep watch if it were not crucial that he see. And so he received a double portion of Elijah's spirit. Is the implication perhaps that we leave behind, what we leave behind for someone can have more of an impact than anything that I have done? Or maybe just that I must step back from my privileged position so that someone else has the opportunity to lead in a bit of a different way, because we're all unique, right? Double the effectiveness, because she will lead in her uniquely gifted way, or he will lead in his uniquely gifted way. Elijah brings Elisha alongside him as he does the work of God. He teaches by example. He preaches through relationship. He leads by leaving this decision to Elijah to continue to walk in the way of a prophet. There is no question a great deal of incomprehensible power flows through Elijah. But he does not use it to manipulate or intimidate or control Elisha. And Elisha, and he says, if you see me, it will be granted. If not, then not. So what? Who cares? Does anyone watch Saturday Night Live? Tough audience. There's a skit. Fred Armisen impersonates Joy Behar. Is that how you say her name? On the NBC show The View. And he's this, so what? Who cares? It's kind of a family joke, but I put a link. It'll be on in my thing on the website if you want to see it. It's silly. I've mentioned before Linda and her horse whispering. She taught us, Howie and Lysander and I, one day went out there, and she taught us about using the porcupine technique. of applying no more than, is it 4 ounces? To start with, just 4 ounces of pressure to guide, to say, this is how I want you to move. Are you okay with this? And asking permission and just lightly nudging, this is what I mean. And then 3 ounces. And then 2. And then she can just point. And the horse will do what she's asking. If the horse is feeling up for it. And she respects that. What a way to lead. The horse trusts her implicitly, unafraid, remarkably skilled. And countless children and adults have learned under her guidance, helping each rider to learn and trust and become leaders themselves, without intimidation, without force or control, only respect and love. But it takes time, a lot of time, and it is a relationship. It is literally in the field work. Galatians 5 begins, and this is the Message translation that I'm going to be quoting from. Christ has set us free to live a free life. So take your stand. Never again let anyone put a harness of slavery on you. Whom do I follow? Whom do you follow? And why? Do they coerce you into being something that you are not? Or do they see God's image in you, encourage you to see God's work in you and to live it out? Or what do you strive after? What do you follow? Getting more money when there's never enough to stop working toward it? An easy retirement when there's never a fully secure situation that will ensure everything will go as planned? Nothing goes as planned, right? If it is going as planned, I'd like to know what your plan is. Because anything other than walking in the steps of Jesus, being a part of the project to make all things right in this world together, righteousness and justice, is truly living free. Paul goes on to say to the Galatian church, it is absolutely clear that God has called you to a free life. Just make sure that you don't use this freedom as an excuse to do whatever you want to do it and destroy that freedom. Rather, use your freedom to serve one another in love. That's how freedom grows. I love the way he says that. For everything we know about God's word is summed up in a single sentence. Love others as you want to be loved yourself. That's an act of true freedom, to freely love each other. If you bite and ravage each other, watch out. In no time at all, you will be annihilating each other. And where will your precious freedom be then? The disciples said, wherever you will go, I will follow. Now I want to sing that song. Elisha and Elijah, I will not leave you. Elisha told Elijah, I will not leave you. How is the Spirit of God, the one whose fruit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, gentleness, and self-control? How is the Spirit of God who dwells in you, indwelling, Shekinah, leading you, guiding you, encouraging you to go? How is the Spirit leading you? How can I be present to you, to lead with you, to share in the power of the consuming fire, and to go where it might be frightening or even just a little uncomfortable? How can we be present to someone else to do the same? That is discipleship. That is who we are. being in relationship, leading by example, by seeing the other, sharing the power and the responsibility to be examples of love. That's how we're known as Christ followers, right? They'll know we are Christians by our love. And to be a part of the project to make all things right in this world, heaven on earth. Behold, I am making all things new, Jesus said. God creates. God is wisdom. God is mindful of us. And God is all powerful. And we are made in God's image. Each one of us are made in that image. Through Elijah, we find another way to lead. Jesus shows us a new way to lead. Lowly and meek, yet all powerful. Christ is the light. So that strength is inherent in us. It's who we are. Real strength, true power, is the freedom to step aside, to let go of some measure of control. Don't annihilate one another. Or maybe give up some of your free time to give it to another who might benefit from your guidance, your wisdom. Love as you want to be loved. Because there is an enormous repository of wisdom in this place, here and now. It begins by developing a disposition of presence to God and to one another. So I wonder if we might together make it a goal today to be intentional about being with someone and notice 5 distinct things about this person you hadn't noticed before. 5 things that, I really love that about her, or I really admire that about him. Maybe traits that you would like to develop. Or see traits that can be developed by my direction or guidance. By your direction, maybe I can guide Clark to be present. Will you join me? I came yesterday across a poem. And I think one of the ways that we can be present to each other is recognizing that there has been a lot of grief. We grieve over physical things that are no longer working the way they ought to. The loss of somebody. There are some anniversaries coming up and that have just passed. And sometimes it's hard to be in this world with that loss. And Clark was mentioning there are a number of people, his friends, that don't want to be in this world right now. And so I want to read this poem, and I'll have it up on the website as well. And if you need some guidance on how to access the sermons online, please talk to us. My kids are really good at the phone thing. If you were sitting next to Clark, you would know that. But this poem is by a poet, Galway Kinnell. He addresses elemental question of existence with extraordinary compassion and spiritual grace in a poem he wrote for a student of his who was contemplating suicide after the abrupt end of a romance. It's called Wait. Wait for now. Distrust everything if you have to. But trust the hours. Haven't they carried you everywhere up until now? Personal events will become interesting again. Hair will become interesting. Pain will become interesting. Buds that open out of season will become lovely again. Second-hand gloves will become lovely again. Their memories are what give them the need for other hands. And the desolation of lovers is the same. That enormous emptiness carved out of such tiny beings as we are, asked to be filled. The need for the new love is faithfulness to the old love. Wait. Don't go too early. You're tired. But everyone's tired. But no one is tired enough. Only wait a while and listen. Music of hair, music of pain, music of looms weaving all our loves again. Be there to hear it. It will be the only time, most of all, to hear the flute of your whole existence, rehearsed by the sorrows, play itself into total exhaustion. We may be tired and grieving, but we're tired and grieving together. Be present to one another, and maybe just be. Or see the joy in each other and live it together and celebrate it. But be present to one another. That is where strength lies. Amen.